Universe, here, 5422. And not to confuse the Brits, that means it's May 5th. I mean May 4th. Not to confuse myself, it's May 4th. 4th of May. The year 2022, according to the calendar that says, I don't know, Star Trek, Space-Time, Captain Kirk, Stardate, 3.14159265358979. Oh, unearthed. Whoa, phone almost fell. More secure phone location. Secured. Yeah. Earth 8675309. The song continues to top the charts galactically at number 1 because who wouldn't want to play Planet Earth over and over and over again until you die? Well, nobody listening, because that's what you're doing. More Planet Earth, please, until I die. Yeah, you're already locked into that. Unless you're that dude who can melt into the rocks of Peru and go see some magic white room. Talk to the aliens and say, no, please send me back through that rickety old window of galaxies into my old planet Earth so my girlfriend cannot worry about me. I mean, if you're that guy, maybe you're not always on planet Earth, but you chose to come back, so I guess in your own way you just had a little trippy adventure off of it. But trippy adventures aside, I wonder if I should give my mom mushrooms for Mother's Day. She's 79, so she's not 80 yet. Problem is, if I give my mom mushrooms, I really have to give them to everybody, because she won't appreciate that she was singled out to receive psychedelics. But if I give them to my sister, my brother-in-law, my father, and my mother, say give them all 2 grams of mushrooms, call it their birthday, Christmas, Father's Day, and Hanukkah, Kwanzaa / Halloween presents all rolled up into one, I'll still bring out the firecrackers on 4th of July, of course. But the rest of the holidays, back off. I'm in receiving mode only. Or would it just create the kind of family fissure that would turn into the kind of argument that would finally cement the fracture that is my nuclear? Would it go nuclear? Wouldn't that be pathetic? If doses of magic mushrooms were the kind of stress catalyst that broke the back of the family structure. I bet 35% of the people listening, which would mean what? One of you? Just nodded your head and said, hell yeah, my family. Ain't nobody gonna do mushrooms. Especially not together. The only person in my family that, well, I would do them with my mom because she wouldn't be able to handle them, and I wouldn't want her to just do them with my dad. If my sister and my brother-in-law said they do them with her, then I'd say do that. But I do them with my mom on a one-off basis. But the only person in my family I'd want to do mushrooms with is my dad. And he wouldn't want to do them. So I just don't think that's going to happen. But if I give everybody 2 grams of mushrooms, it's got a lot better chance of happening than if I don't. So, I don't know. Anyway, it would be an original Mother's Day gift. And I do like being original. Even though this, well, yeah, I guess this episode is sort of all about originality. Whoa. In reality, I think I've already figured out how to close out late for work again. Which I was hoping would be the motivation behind A, getting a job, and B, getting a job that I wouldn't be late for. So I kind of consider it mission accomplished. And I'm getting a little cocky right now, and I'm not one to get cocky. Especially on something that I have such a porous track record when it comes to something like being on time for work. But 4 months and a day or 2 of success behind my back gives me a little reason to be, if nothing else, overconfident for a day. And overconfident for a day might be exactly the frame of mind I was in when the schizophrenic I refer to, sometimes delusional schizophrenic, not sometimes, delusional schizophrenic is the actual condition. When I speak of seeking her as reparation to fix my life. Her name is Lily. She is her birthday is March 29th, so she just turned 33. So she is 33 years old. She is the exact age as Miss Teen South Carolina, who fumbled the ball at the goal line when asked to discuss the stupidity of Americans. That is not a slight against her. I'm saying they ironically are within 2 days of the exact age. One was born on the 27th, the other was born on the 29th. I believe, could be wrong. I'm sure about Lily, I'm not sure about Miss Teen South Carolina. That said, unlike Miss Teen South Carolina, her heroism of continuing forward in a moment past the inanity that it is to be exposed as less than or mockable in a national forum in America. Well, no. As a matter of fact, the last person on planet Earth that America is going to give the limelight to is Lily, the delusional schizophrenic. No. As a matter of fact, America's play for her. And I'm going to walk to the desk and... Wait, do I need to go to the desk? I guess I do. America's play for her is institutionalized in some capacity, whether it's mental illness or legal trouble. And that's the unbearable truth that every delusional schizophrenic faces, is a life of challenge to stay out of the grips of one or the other. And in the short exposure I have to the condition, that is a challenge most fail. And most failures become life setbacks that can lead to the worst of outcomes, including taking their own life. They're just candidates for washing through civilization at its lowest level again and again and again. And there are only so many times you can go through that cycle without making the ultimate decision to end the repetition. And I mean, if you got answers here, then raise your hand, because this situation is... All right. I have to explain. I was working for Home Depot, for sure. I had been there, I want to say, 5-ish months. It was around April. It was around this time of year. A couple weeks before, maybe a couple weeks after, but it was certainly before Memorial Day, and at least a month before Memorial Day. So I want to say we're right there. It was right there in 2019, so 4 years ago. No, I mean 2017. 2017. So it was 6 years ago. Yeah, Donald Trump had just been elected president. And it was after Lily's birthday, so it was sometime in April that I had a friend who coincidentally was born on March 29th, 1989, who had reason to play a practical joke on me. And this was something that was a week brewing. And this evening, about 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning, on a warm night, because my back door was open, I'm in my bedroom. No, I think actually at the time the house was arranged differently. I was in my study when I heard someone yelling out, "Hello, hello, hello, I'm here, where are you?" And I have to think of, I have been hearing voices at this point. But this clearly wasn't that, because both dogs, and at this time I had Millhouse, both dogs run to the kitchen. I clearly have an intruder. And I go, as I bolt toward the area, at this point she'd made it far enough in the house that she was in my living room, back of my house, basically. But she crossed the kitchen and was in the living room. And both of my dogs are, I'm trying to control Millhouse, who is snarling, and Phoebe is jumping, like just jumping straight up and down. And I immediately ask who she is, what she's doing there. She's like, "I'm looking for," and at this point I don't remember, Millie, Molly, Marky, it doesn't matter. She's looking for blankety blank, and saw them come in the back door and followed them in, and now she doesn't know where they are. And I'm expecting my friend. Like, I honestly thought it could be her, which wouldn't have made sense. Like, why would she come in the back door yelling? So part of my disarmed nature of the whole situation is that I'm expecting company any minute. And so much so that as I'm putting together this conversation I'm having with this person at the time in my living room, she's giving me back responses that are cryptically I think I'm being punked about 4 minutes into it. My initial reaction is, holy shit, some crazy girl walked in my house, which turns out to be the story. But I talk myself into the dialogue between us for what is 90 seconds to 2 minutes of delusional schizophrenic responding to me in a way that triggers coincidental connections that I read as the underbelly of one of the greatest pranks ever played. In fact, I start to think I can reverse the punk by inquiring enough about this intruder, who I start to think must be my friend's friend, Allison. I start to think that I just need to uncork Allison to reveal that it's her, and I'll have won the game. Until about 25 minutes go by. And I don't know that it's that long, but I'm trying to guess it wasn't 45 minutes. And it wasn't 15. But, I give it enough time that I start thinking, okay, well, this doesn't make sense. Where the fuck is Erica? At some point, the joke isn't funny. And she's too good at being weird for it to be funny much longer. Like, the weird, and that I had about 12 minutes of the end of this conversation recorded, because I started to catch on that maybe I was confronting an intruder. But Lily is 5'1", 110 pounds. Unless she's been to jail, then she's 140. And she is about the most harmless human you could be looking at. And I've got both dogs who at this point are totally settled down. And Lily's weird enough that I'm still not sure what's going on. But the conversation that I recorded, and I'd listened to this part a lot, she's talking about pirates and kings, and it's just like, it's the kind of daydreamy blah 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 that if you were just trying to make up being crazy, you might be spitting out. And the part that I kept coming back to was, she said that her birthday was March 29th, 1989. Which in the random universe of what the fuck coincidences was Erica's birthday. Exactly. The day. They're born on the same day. And so that coincidence led to what was a 2.5 hour conversation with a delusional schizophrenic who walked in my back door in full on deluded state of mind. At that point, I couldn't deny that I knew what was going on. I still hadn't gotten a hold of Erica. I didn't get a hold of her for another hour. She came over to the house, finally, at some ungodly, almost dawn morning moment, when I know I'm not threatened by this person, but I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. My instinct is to call the police, but I can't really justify it at this point. Because whatever's happened to this woman, she's filthy, for one. And she is... she's clearly unfit. And she has a ID on her. She has proof of who she is. It's a state Colorado ID. Honestly, in all the time I've known her, which now is 6 years, the information on her ID, that information that I got that night, is really all I know about her. I know she's been in jail. I know that she's been arrested for a couple different things, including having been charged with a felony and misdemeanor in the same event that she is currently unwinding, which is perhaps why she's been distant. And I say why she's been distant because I kicked her out of what was our living arrangement that she could use my garage as quote-unquote sanctuary. In other words, she could dive into my garage as long as she wasn't being pursued by the police and use it as a place to get away and not sleep homeless in the city of Denver. Well, she had used that a little bit in the year 2021 and had abused it a little bit toward the end of the year to the point I kicked her out on December 1st and said, you got to go. No more. And then hadn't heard from her until I believe it was the 3rd or 4th of January when she left me a message from a library phone number in Douglas County or somewhere, which I tried calling back. I had been at work when the message came through. I called it back an hour and 10 minutes later and called it back incessantly for a day. There was no answer ever, and never heard from her again until yesterday. Was it yesterday? Or was it the day before? It was the day before. When she, and from a number I didn't recognize, but after receiving 13 missed messages at the end of a shift at work, I proceeded to get over 200 text messages from Lily in manic state and never ever really conversed with her other than through text message after text message after text message after text message after text message, to the point I shut them off. And that means that she's somewhere. And it's strange because I felt her presence in the house twice. Like even asked the dog if Lily had been here. So I think she's been in the house. She knows how to get in the house. And she stalks me. So I'm not saying this is even unusual behavior. This is what to expect. If I know she's out and about, then she's stalking me. And she reveals it. She says stupid shit in her text messages that tell me that she knows that I'm working back at Home Depot. So obviously she knows something. And I don't care. Lily is never going to hurt me. Lily is just the sort of unwanted presence in our society that I feel sorry for, to the point that I don't judge her. I don't make her feel small. I don't make fun of her. I don't tell her she's, well, I have told her she's crazy. But look, if you ever have to face the snap of mental situation that comes with those who are afflicted with this condition, it is a sentence of misunderstanding in every way. The world misunderstands you, you misunderstand the world, and you can't understand the disconnect. It's terrible. So I don't have answers. I know medication can soothe some of the disconnect, but medication leads to another sense of paranoia and distrust and lack of integrity. The disease is like somebody's getting information that's coming through scrambled. They're misreading the patterns, but they are seeing patterns. And they're seeing a different roulette wheel of life. It's what is plant your flagpole here serious at one moment is not even remembered the next day. And it morphs in and out of self-loathing, megalomania, purpose, inferiority, dominance, submissive, woeful. It's a mix of horror to watch someone have to navigate the world with the input she receives, or misunderstands, or aligns the way she aligns it. She is her own worst enemy, and she knows it. Well, but she can't admit it, but she can see it, but she can't change it. And medication can make her a Taco Bell worker in a life that she wants to kill herself. But if she doesn't admit that's what maintenance there is for her in this version of Earth 8675309, well, the other options are prison or the mental hospital. So here's this woman who, for the most part, her own undoings, faces one of three choices. Do you want to work at Taco Bell? Do you want to go to prison? Or do you want to be in the mental hospital? I don't know. That might be enough to make me think about option number 4. But I will say that there's some persistence to her. I do see some Wolverine in her. The refusal to let this world dictate terms. But this world, when it wants to dictate its terms, is awfully powerful. And it does not tolerate the nonsense that someone like Lily wants to live with. Well, when I say that she saved my life, she turned me around, she's as big a part of this as anything. I've always been a sucker for the one in need, you know. And in some ways, I had talked myself into the fact that the world had overlooked that I was the one in need. And I mean this. Like, I was starting to have some pity parties. I know I was. I thought, hey, how about me? Well, what do you know? But in my back door walks in the ultimate hurt puppy. And it's not that I can fix what Lily suffers, for I have no chance at making that whole. But I understand Lily. I get when the world has limited you to feeling like you're broken. And I certainly have it in my capacity to not judge Lily for what she cannot help doing. We're all put here with certain ways that we just don't fit in. And then some of us are put here with ways that we can't figure out even a way to fit in. Well, I feel for those people. And Lily's the ultimate example. So, you know, I try to understand how society has broken to the point that someone like Lily just is a nuisance that needs to go. But that's a different argument. The only thing I can do is make sure that no matter what chaos she's bringing on in life, that at least she can sleep out of the rain. And what she does, I can't stop her from doing the stuff she does. But she does listen to me. You know, I do try to show her. That, you know, just like her, I can be my own worst enemy. We all can. It just doesn't have to be that way anymore.